I don't know, if I'm honest, if I expected them all to make it. It was really sad that we lost the 3 boys.
Previously, we saw these lovely ponies that came into us in a really poor state. One of the things that we weren't able to tell you much about beforehand is the backstory, where these ponies have come from, what circumstances they were in and how they were dealt with before they came into us. Welcome back to Hall Farm to have a look at these ponies who came into us previously in a really shocking condition. In the last film, we didn't manage to tell you much about their backstory. You can follow the link to that up here if you didn't see it before. We're going to tell you more about that today and also about how they've been getting on in our care.
So we had a call come in from a concerned member of the public about a group of cobs that they were worried about, that they were out in a field in the snow with no food and that some of them were quite underweight. So as soon as I turned up at the field and saw this group of mainly young cobs, I was immediately concerned. They were very obviously underweight and very quiet, not acting as they should do as a group of young cobs, huddled in the corner, not really responsive to my presence at all. I was certainly worried enough that I immediately contacted my local RSPCA colleague, and between us we organised a vet and police to attend back at the location with us. So when we returned to the location with the police officer and vet in tow, we were able to obviously get onto the field there and get a better look at the conditions and what was happening there. It was a snowy afternoon typically, so absolutely freezing cold, very muddy. There was no grazing at all on the property. Some very poor quality forage had been put out and the ponies were so hungry that they were actually eating it. In a corner of the field, I came across a metal pen, and I just thought it was storage, that maybe they kept some hay or some feed in there, and it was tightly wrapped up with a tarpaulin all around it. And being sort of naturally a bit inquisitive, I thought I'll go and have a look and see what's in there. And that's where I came across Tiger Lily. She was shut in there on her own in disgusting conditions. She was very thin, completely matted with faeces. She was absolutely terrified when I lifted up the tarpaulin. When I went in to get a closer look at her, you know, just trying to get away, really frightened, backing into the corner, quite a sorry state. Somebody had literally just attended before we arrived because Tiger Lily had had a whole sack of pasture mix poured in. So how she didn't die of colic or choke is beyond me. On closer inspection of all the ponies, the vet examined them on site and said that they were suffering through malnutrition and suspected parasite issues. A number of them had very high heart rates indicating pain. Some of them had very low body temperatures because they weren't able to regulate themselves. Some of them had diarrhoea and scouring. They were all clinically unwell, as well as being very underweight, which is why a decision was made to take them into possession. So the equines at the location were taken into possession by the police. A property receipt was left at the location along with an abandonment notice. the abandonment notice has a period of 14 days. And because nobody came forwards within that 14 days, after that 14 days, the police then relinquished the ownership of the animals into the care of the RSPCA, who then transferred them into World Horse Welfare's permanent care, and then they travelled up to Hall Farm, where they are now.
What's striking is just in 2 weeks to see the body condition of these ponies and how much it's managed to improve. The appropriate nutrition, good attention, and I'm actually amazed how much they've put on in 2 weeks, which is a really great thing to see. One of the most important things for horses is freedom to roam and forage. And we know that Tiger Lily, one of these ponies, was just kept in a kind of cage with a tarpaulin. And so it's really important to us as part of that rehabilitation to give them the freedom to move and graze. And that's been a really satisfying thing to see them do. What's really striking and makes us so happy to see is that they're not just the docile ponies that they were when they came in. They're actually a bit of a handful. They're much more spirited, they're running about, and it's just wonderful to see them out in the field where they've been getting some turnout. That's a big thing for us, is giving them space to run around, considering where they'd come from. So when the weather's good, they've been out in the fields. Today, it's not so good, but we've got these lovely big crew yards here with lots of space for them inside. At the moment, they are in our isolation facilities here. They are receiving vaccinations for things like tetanus and flu and strangles, which is particularly important for us because many horses from these situations can carry strangles. The next bit of their journey as they go onto the main yard is pivotal. They'll be assigned a groom, somebody who will be responsible for their ongoing care. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that is going, and we will certainly feature that in future videos and see how they get on.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see them today. I don't know, if I'm honest, if I expected them all to make it. It was really sad that we lost the 3 boys as part of this job, and it's really lovely to see that the 4 girls have not just survived but are clearly flourishing. You know, it's, you know, a really lovely part of my job that sadly I don't always get to see because of the severity of the cases that we come across on a daily basis. So anytime something positive like this happens, it's, you know, it makes it all worthwhile. I find it really overwhelming about how many people have watched the videos of Tinkerbell and her little friends, and the amount of support and lovely comments and well wishes that there are for them. And alongside that, what's incredible is the donations that have come in, which go towards supporting not only their care, but all the other horses that are out there that are waiting for us to help, that need to come into our farms.
One of the things that we've been amazed at is how many of you who have really engaged with this story. Thank you. Many of you have donated to support these ponies, but without donations, none of us at World Horse Welfare could be there for the animals that we care about. So if you want to donate and be a part of their story, we'd be extremely grateful. Thank you.
She's so tiny. Hello. Are you nice? They look so different, don't they?